Yeah, horses are attachment beings. So just like us, they're attachment beings in that moment. And when we go through crisis, when there's a traumatic event in our life, we're not looking for our basic needs in those moments. We're looking for our people. We're looking for our herd.
Get your daily dose of motivation on the Motivational Moments with Michelle podcast. In Motivation with Michelle podcast, you'll get encouraging, uplifting, and life-changing wisdom that will transform your world at your fingertips, 24 hours a day. Get a fuller, deeper revelation of the tools you can implement to see incredible transformation in your life from Michelle Newstedter's powerful teachings. Tune in whenever you need to be edified, uplifted, or a dose of motivation, no matter where you are. Subscribe to Motivational Moments with Michelle podcast with Michelle Newstedter today on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or SoundCloud.
Welcome to this Wednesday Word of Wisdom. My name is Michelle Newstedter, and today I am joined by my beautiful friend and colleague, Jules, who actually, she and I have come together, and for the past year, we've been running a workshop that incorporates these lovely friends behind us here, where we focus on some mental health challenges like trauma, grief, anxiety, stress. We've actually found it to be quite a profound tool for clients. But so today we wanted to just talk to you a little bit about why your mental health is important and how these guys can help us with that. So first of all, thanks for joining me today.
You bet.
So I mean, if you guys have seen any of my other videos that I've put out, you know that I am really passionate about our mental health and even just increasing accesses to those services because it is so important. Our physical health, how we function in our relationships, everything hinges on how we function in our mental life, in our mental health. And we've come to learn that there's been lots of studies and research done on how horses help us with that. So Jules, why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, for sure. So horses are prey animals, and as such, they really definitely feed off of our emotions and pick up on our feelings. And oftentimes horses can sort of pick up on those feelings that are way below the surface that we don't even realize are there. And they can give us immediate feedback. And the nice thing about getting feedback from horses is that it's non-judgmental, and it's going to be something that people are a little bit able to accept better rather than, feeling like someone's pointing out something that you don't really want to hear about. Horses just give us that feedback in a way that doesn't feel intimidating or threatening. As I said, it's non-judgmental, it's honest, and they can give it to us in a way that might be a little easier to accept and receive. So they're fantastic to work with. They can help us work through so many things. One of the things I really like working through is anxiety, because they give us that desire to, we want to be with them, we want to work with them, we want to touch them, we want to ride them, we want to engage with them or work with them on the ground. And so it gives us an opportunity to kind of face that fear and to find that courage. And so to practice skills that we learn in dealing with anxiety and coping through that. But they can also help us with so many other things. Verbal communication, leadership, they can teach us all kinds of things about boundaries. They can help us through things like depression and finding that space to just get some rest. They can teach us about self-awareness. They can teach us about teamwork, and they just have so much to offer, and I can't say enough about them, obviously. I mean, I've been working with them for a number of years, and I just feel like they give us so much.
And even going back to that anxiety piece, right? Horses, they give us that opportunity to experience peace.
Yeah.
Especially in the fact that they are, like you said, right? They're these large animals that they help us kind of like move through some of those fears and that kind of piece. But, they don't talk back to you like other people in your world might. They're not going to give you advice. They're just going to be there with you and just connect with you, right?
They're so accepting, doesn't matter what your headspace, like there's no judgment. There's no preconceived notions. They're just accepting you as you are, where you are. And, depending on the horse you're working with, sometimes we'll get that, fight, flight, black. And other times we can just learn from them and come down to a space that helps us to just relax and find some rest. Roscoe often likes to be the center of attention. That's the other thing, like horses, they definitely have different personalities like we do, right? So interacting with different horses teaches us different things. We can learn so much about relationships and communicating with other people and different personalities because they're not the same either, just like we're not.
Well, I find that they're a lot like us too, like in terms of like how they experience emotions and how they have to navigate through them. And I mean, I guess in your experience then too, like as you see, because I mean, you've talked about before about how like the horses experience, fear, or how the horses experience some of their different emotions. What do you think is one thing we could learn from how horses deal with their emotions that we can apply to our lives?
Well, there's so many things that we can learn from them. I think the big thing with their behavior is just that fight-flight mentality. As prey animals, their instincts are to flee. They get spooked. And so their instincts aren't to fight back. Although within the herd, sometimes there are those dynamics and they are a little bit more aggressive with each other. But if something's scary, if there's an anxious moment and they're nervous and fearful, they're running, right? And so we can sometimes watch that and learn from that. Like, hey, you know what? Like in that situation where they just ran from something, there was really nothing to be afraid of. And yet they just ran because it's their nature, it's their instinct. And I think, the experiences that we have and the traumas that we experience in our life teach us to respond kind of without going through the steps. Okay, I'm feeling this, therefore I should do that. We just kind of respond sometimes. It's instinctual and we do and we react, and then later maybe we come back and go, hey, that situation maybe didn't need as big of a reaction. So the difference though becomes that, we can then problem solve through things, and we can learn how to, the next time we face something like that, maybe we can just take a step back, take a deep breath, and ground ourselves and realize, okay, does this situation require that flight mentality? Does this situation require I run? Or can I pause and work through this? And then how can I work through this? Because that's something that I do with the horses too. We teach them that, they can rely on us, that they can rely on their support systems, and that they can rely on, that calming voice or touch to just settle them. And then that can perhaps make us reflect on what are the things that help us to get through those scary moments or those sad moments. What helps? Where are my supports? And in what way do I receive those supports? Because we don't all receive supports in the same way,
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we receive it through physical touch. Maybe we receive it through talk. Maybe we receive it through, acts of service. But it can make us look at our own responses, I think, because their responses are just so instinctual. And it can lead us to, maybe reflecting a little bit more on how we respond to various circumstances.
Mm-hmm. Like, what's my need, right? In this moment, in this emotion, in this fear, in this depression, in this...
What do I need?
What do I need?
Yeah.
And, like you said, like these guys all are very similar to us in terms of that they all have a different need of what helps them kind of reground themselves.
Yeah, horses are attachment beings. So just like us, they're attachment beings in that moment. And when we go through crisis, when there's a traumatic event in our life, we're not looking for our basic needs in those moments. We're looking for our people. We're looking for our herd and trying to find that attachment that we have, right? That's what's important in those moments. There's an earthquake or a tsunami or something, and we're not going out looking for something to eat. We're going out and looking for our family and for our friends and for our loved ones. And those attachment pieces are so important, and horses are herd animals, and they ground themselves within their herd. That's where they get their strength, and that's where they get their supports too. And horses have emotional needs. Absolutely they do. They are emotional beings. You can see them experience their own sadness too sometimes. And there are various circumstances. Learning about each individual horse within the herd can often be something that people can identify with. That horse connects with me. I connect with that horse because, that horse just got separated from her daughter because she's getting weaned. So now they're in two different places. And, my daughter's off living with her dad, and now we're in two different places, except on weekends, or for whatever reason, that horse is, a little bit anxious and anxiety driven. And so am I. I have something in common, and I have this common ground with that animal. So it connects us, and those needs are very similar. Yes. That's a long answer.
But I love that. I love the analogy, the picture of finding your herd.
Yeah.
I love that. I think it's such a beautiful picture because, especially like, so let's take like pandemic as an example, because we were all just walking through that and out of that right now. And at the beginning, what was the big phrase? We're all in this together.
Yeah.
It was about like how to act as a community. You're not alone. And I mean, I know that as the pandemic went on, people got more and more isolated, which actually caused more and more mental health and health problems for people because they weren't with their herd.
Yeah. And it created a whole new set of struggles and issues for people, which is, we're all coming to see that now. And it became a bit of a struggle. Well, what do we do? Look out for our health or emotionally or our physical health. And I think that's something that was really big that came out of COVID is people realizing the significance of their emotional health and their mental health and how much we do need to interact with people, how much we do need that physical contact, that connection, right? That herd.
Yeah. And just like how like Roscoe was just like, pressing up on you, pressing up on me. It's like,
pay attention to me. I'm right here. Right. Yeah. It's the same, right?
I feel like that's a lot of us. We're standing there going, hi, like, I'm here.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, here I am, look at me, and I need some love, and I need some attention, and I need some affection, and then you have your horses too that don't want that because they're terrified, right? They have like this huge boundary. I've got that little mini over there who's like terrified of people, but yet you still can see that desire for her. No matter how scared she is, she really wants to be there. So she's like inching her way up to the fence, and she wants to connect and she wants that attachment piece, and it's a scary thing for her, but she wants it, right?
Yeah, so I think that a great takeaway from this right now is identifying those things that we need, especially when we're in that big emotional place. What do we need?
Yeah.
And who do we need?
And how do we need it? And knowing that about ourselves, learning that about ourselves is a really important thing. Maybe we think that we need something different than what we do, and realizing what that need really is and being okay to say, that's what I need right now,
And have that be okay.
Yeah, have that be okay, right? And that's the thing too with horses too. Sometimes your teens or whatever are going through an experience and they don't want that comfort from their parent, but they'll accept it from a horse, just hanging out and being with them. Yes, because we're really friendly.
But I think that one of the cool things is we can break through any barrier as long as we've got the right tools. And you know what? Sometimes these guys get to be those tools for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And they all have so much to offer and in so many different ways. And this guy here, this is Rio. He's our big draft horse, and like he's just this big monster horse, and oftentimes clients just feel super safe with him because he's so big and you're sitting on his back and he's just kind of eating up the dirt and you just feel protected and safe, and there's rest in that, there's peace in that, and to just feel carried and to feel that foundation that's solid underneath you. I know.
I remember when you first got him, and
yeah,
he wouldn't leave me alone that day.
Rio.
Awesome. All right, well, we're now being joined by a whole lot of friends here, so before that gets destroyed, we'll call her a day. So thank you so much, Jules, for
thanks,
being
Michelle.
with me.
Thanks.
And thanks for introducing the audience to these lovely friends.
You bet. Thanks for having me.